Hi, everybody. Thanks for taking the time today. So Thesis Gold is a relatively new exploration company focused in north-central British Columbia, and we're 100% focused on our Ranch Gold project. You can see the image on the right-hand side there. And I put up some of the kind of key players in this region, specifically some of the major mining companies, Newmont, Newcrest, Freeport, Centerra Gold. And there's actually been about $5 billion worth of M&A transactions in this area over the last 5 years. So it's a fantastic jurisdiction. I think that's only going to continue. And we hold a significant land position in this key area. Our maiden drill program, in fact, the Ranch project itself, it saw quite a lot of work in the 1970s and 80s, and then about 35,000 meters of drilling, actually about 10,000 ounces of gold produced at just under 10 grams. And then in the early 90s, it ended up in with a private group, and really they didn't have the access to capital or technical expertise to drive it forward to what we think is multi-million ounce potential. So it sat pretty dormant for 20, 25 years. And we acquired the project in October 2020, and our maiden drill program last year was extremely successful. And earlier this year, we raised $24 million, and that funded a 40,000 meter drill program this year. So of that, we probably still have about 30,000 meters of drilling to put out over the coming months. So there's going to be a lot of news flow and a lot of drill results to come in the near future. Of that summer program so far, we've released about 14 holes only. We're having a tough time getting them back from the lab at the moment. They're just backlogged as usual. But of those releases, some very high-grade mineralization highlights 91 meters of just under 2 grams, 17.5 meters of 4.6. And those holes are expanding the known zones in mineralization. And it's a high-grade gold, copper, silver epithermal system that essentially starts at surface. And then I put in there as well some highlights from last year's program, some spectacular mineralization, 34 meters at just under 20 grams gold, 27 meters at just under 9. And then we've made about 5 new discoveries on the project as well, in and around existing mineralization. So a lot of upside potential in the area. Then just a quick corporate snapshot. We have a very tight share structure, just under 65 million shares outstanding. We're very well capitalized with 18 million in the treasury going into 2023. That will fund another significant drill program next year. So there's going to be no kind of near-term dilutive financings. We also have a very kind of unique shareholder base, I guess, for a company of our size with a market cap currently of around 75 million. We have a lot of institutional support with big funds in the US and Canada, including Merck, Franklin Templeton, Eric Sprott, to name a few. And then management holds about 20-25% of the company as well. And then one of the real benefits of that work that was completed in the area in the 1970s and 80s is that the infrastructure is fantastic. You can fly from Vancouver or drive from Vancouver up to the northern city of Prince George, and from there drive onto the project area through Centerra Gold's Kemess copper gold porphyry deposit, onwards through Benchmark Metals Lawyers project, which is 3.6 million ounce gold and silver deposit, and then onto our Ranch project at the end of the road, where we think it has that similar type of multi-million ounce potential as well. So great road infrastructure. There's an airstrip just to the south of us. There's a power line tie-in at Kemess, certainly de-risking the project significantly. And this area is not the rugged coastal mountains of British Columbia. It's rolling hills. You can operate year-round. So ultimately, all of this results in just very cost-effective exploration. This is our current land position, so it's 180 square kilometers, so a significant area. We own it 100%. And you can see the cluster of dots on the map there. There's 20 plus exploration targets. We've only drilled a handful of those, and some spectacular mineralization. earlier this year, we actually put out some initial results from metallurgical work on from samples taken on a number of the different zones. And we've seen between 90 and 98% gold recovery using very conventional, low-cost extraction methods. So very encouraging initial results there as well. Now, taking a little bit more of a detailed look at that kind of core area on the project, this just highlighting some of the different zones of mineralization, but you can see the Bonanza and Ridge zones there in the top right-hand corner with some very high-grade intercepts, 34 meters at just under 20 grams and 27 meters at 9 at Ridge. And then the Thesis zones in the south-west corner and the Bingo and what we call the Thesis structural corridor, which is basically just a big fault system. These results are from the 2021 program, and you can see that from the drill holes there that they're kind of isolated pods of mineralization. And really the objective of this year's 40,000 meters of drilling was, do these zones connect together and can we add substantial ounces here and really grow what we have on the project? And certainly the first two releases from this year's program were the Bonanza and Ridge zones, and we've now seen those essentially come together as one much more significant system. It has a strike length of about 650 meters on it at the moment, and at the Ridge zone is pulling down to about 250 meters depth. So, and those holes as well are a couple that I mentioned earlier, 91 meters of just under 2 grams, so it's starting at surface. So not only are they connected, but the mineralization looks very strong as well. And then similarly, in the Thesis structural corridor, we've been drilling between each of those zones, and we now see a strike extent on that system of about 1.5 kilometers. So, as we get results in, I think you're going to see that really bulk out and hold together and demonstrate that we certainly do have that potential to get to millions of ounces. And I think, as I mentioned, we're funded for another significant drill program in 2023. Post that, I think we'd be looking to put out our maiden resource estimate on the project or early 2024. Then stepping back from that area a little bit, this slide here is really just to demonstrate that even out with that kind of core area, we have a number of new targets that essentially share the same characteristics as those known zones of gold mineralization in terms of geochemical response, geophysics, and also the alteration footprint that we see on surface with many square kilometers of alteration similar to the known zones. And we drilled a few holes at each of these targets this year as well, and very encouraging visual results in terms of alteration and mineralization. No results yet, but they will be coming out again in the next few months. So great discovery potential on this project as well. Then ESG is a critical part of any company these days, and we have 4 local First Nations partners in this area of British Columbia. We've been working hand in hand with the local nations for, essentially since we started the program. We actually use the environmental wing of 2 of the nations, Saskatchewan and Chukchi Environmental, to do all of our baseline environmental, wildlife monitoring, etc. So a great working relationship there, and I think that's only going to continue in the years to come. I won't read through everybody's bio here, but a group of individuals with a strong track record of success, particularly in this area of BC, where everybody has decades worth of experience in the junior exploration space. And I'm a geologist by background, and they certainly have skill sets to complement mine with capital markets and also on the law side of things as well. But really the key takeaway here, everybody, is that we've got 30,000 meters of drilling still to come out over the next few months. So there's a lot of near-term catalysts. I think we're going to continue to see positive drill results. We're fully financed for next year. We have very tight share structure and great shareholders that are invested in the project and the region and really see the potential here as this district kind of emerges and starting to get a lot more attention. So with that, thanks, and it's been a pleasure presenting.